The wildfires in Los Angeles have painted a scene reminiscent of the apocalypse, evoking the biblical tale of divine fire-burning cities. Who can escape such a catastrophe? Recently, the fires in Los Angeles have obliterated the wealth accumulated by countless Hollywood stars, turning it to ash overnight. So far, over 10,000 homes have been destroyed, with losses exceeding $150 billion. A sheriff described the scene as if it had experienced an atomic bomb explosion, a sight too horrific to bear. Even the luxurious neighborhoods of Los Angeles were not spared, reduced to smoldering ruins. These images, akin to those from disaster movies, are now unfolding in reality. People often say that fortune can change in an instant. In the face of such an unexpected disaster, how to protect property and life has become a pressing question for everyone. In today's program, we will explore a story related to disaster. On August 8, 2023, while tourists were enjoying their holiday in Hawaii, a wildfire suddenly struck Maui. Fueled by strong winds, the fire rapidly spread across the island. This disaster left thousands missing and hundreds dead, marking one of the deadliest fires in America in a century. Many families were torn apart, desperately searching through the rubble for missing loved ones, waiting hopelessly for rescue. However, aerial footage revealed many inexplicable sights within the flames, shocking viewers. For instance, flames engulfed vehicles while the surrounding grass and palm trees remained untouched. Strangely, the fire seemed selective, destroying many buildings and trees while sparing others, including a mansion that stood unscathed, even as the area around a church was charred, leaving the church itself standing as if protected by divine intervention. These baffling scenes bring to mind another fire described in the Bible, where divine fire destroyed 2 cities. Yet, amid that disaster, some managed to escape. Over 3,700 years ago, a prophet named Abraham emerged in Central Asia. He is known as the father of many nations and the founder of the Israelite people. According to records, Abraham initially roamed the valley regions of Asia, where the night sky sparkled with stars and moon worship was prevalent. However, Abraham believed all this was created by God, leading him to worship the Almighty. Seeing his devotion, God blessed Abraham with a prosperous land. Thus, Abraham departed the east with his wife Sarah, his nephew Lot, and others, journeying to the land of Canaan between the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River. At first, Abraham and Lot lived in harmony, but over time, their servants frequently quarreled over grazing land. Abraham suggested they part ways, and Lot chose the lush plains of the Jordan River, ultimately settling in the bustling city of Sodom. Abraham remained in Canaan, faithfully following God's teachings. One afternoon, while sitting at the entrance of his tent, he saw 3 men standing nearby and recognized one of them as God. Abraham warmly invited them to rest under a tree and instructed a servant to prepare a lavish feast. Was there something special about this encounter that warranted God's personal presence? At that time, the plains of the Jordan were home to 2 prosperous cities, Sodom and Gomorrah. The inhabitants lived indulgently, lacking any moral compass. The wickedness of Sodom and Gomorrah reached God's ears, prompting him to investigate personally. If he found no righteous individuals, he would bring disaster and destroy the cities as a warning for future generations. Thus, he sent 2 angels to Sodom. Upon learning of God's plan, Abraham worried for his nephew Lot and his family. He cautiously asked God if he would spare the city if there were 50 righteous people. God agreed. Abraham continued to plead, reducing the number to 10. God promised that even if only 10 righteous individuals were found, he would not destroy the city. With that, God departed. The 2 angels arrived in Sodom and were welcomed by Lot, who urged them to stay at his home for the night. Initially, the angels refused, intending to spend the night in the streets, but Lot insisted on their safety, explaining that the streets were dangerous. Eventually, the angels agreed to stay. Lot's family prepared a feast for the angels. Soon, the men of Sodom surrounded Lot's house, demanding that he hand over the 2 visitors. Lot pleaded with them not to commit such evil acts, but the crowd refused to listen, attempting to break down the door. In desperation, Lot even offered his 2 daughters in exchange for the safety of the angels that moment. The angels used their powers to pull Lot inside, shutting the door and causing the crowd to fall into a stupor. They warned Lot to flee quickly with his family, for God had sent them to destroy the city. Lot hurried to wake his sons-in-law, but they dismissed him, thinking he was joking. The next morning, as dawn broke, the angels urged Lot's family to escape. Reluctant to leave, Lot had to be physically dragged out of the city by the angels, who instructed them not to look back or linger. Even as disaster loomed, Lot requested the angels to let them escape to a nearby small town. The angels agreed but stressed the need for haste. As Lot and his family reached the small town of Zoar, God rained down sulfur and fire from heaven, instantly annihilating Sodom and Gomorrah, along with all the inhabitants and creatures within. Lot's wife looked back during their escape and immediately turned into a pillar of salt as the raging fire completely consumed the once thriving city. After the calamity, the next morning, Abraham gazed upon Sodom and Gomorrah and saw the entire plain like a burning kiln, engulfed in flames and smoke. The divine fire had brought an end to the 2 wicked cities. For thousands of years, people have regarded the stories in the Bible as mere myths. However, recent archaeological discoveries have provided new evidence. A study published in the prestigious journal Nature reported that around 3,700 years ago, a powerful force suddenly destroyed the region of the Jordan Valley. An object from the sky struck, releasing immense energy, akin to the Tunguska event, turning rocks to ash and generating shockwaves that swept through the city at speeds of 900 to 1,200 kilometers per hour, flattening buildings and causing the inhabitants to vanish in an instant. Excavations at the Tal al-Hammam site revealed that the city once had a palace complex towering 12 meters high, completely destroyed in the disaster, leaving only the stone foundations. Artifacts found at the site displayed characteristics of molten lava formed under high temperatures, resembling the bubbles formed when ceramic shards melt, which requires temperatures of 1,500 degrees. Scientists believe that the object entering the atmosphere generated heat through friction, releasing energy 1,000 times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima, capable of obliterating an entire city in seconds. Archaeologists speculate that this could be the fire from heaven that consumed Sodom as described in the Bible. Through computer simulations, scientists theorized that a celestial rock measuring 60 to 75 meters in diameter exploded at an altitude of 1 to 5 kilometers, creating a massive fireball. The explosion's center reached temperatures of 300,000 degrees Celsius, with thermal radiation instantly melting ceramic soil layers and rocks, causing surface temperatures to spike above 1,850 degrees, resulting in immediate fatalities. The explosion drastically reduced the population from around 45,000 to 60,000 to just a few hundred nomads. The extreme heat also caused the high salinity waters of the Dead Sea near Tal al-Hammam to evaporate rapidly, covering the valley with salt water and rendering the land barren. The survivors were forced to abandon their city, leading to a period of desolation lasting 300 to 600 years in Sodom and the surrounding areas. Today, the remains of these abandoned sites have been discovered near the Dead Sea, with solidified rock columns still standing as a testament to Sodom's complete destruction. Are the disasters recorded in the Bible genuine accounts from ancient witnesses? Archaeologist Christopher Moore from the University of South Carolina affirms this perspective in dialogue. He believes that the biblical description of God destroying Sodom and Gomorrah is likely based on a real historical event. If the calamities around the world play out as some prophecies suggest, they are not merely spectacles for people to witness on the news. Perhaps their deeper significance lies in warning humanity to reflect on and correct their wrongdoings, returning to the moral standards bestowed by God, to avoid disaster, for God values life more than humans do. What do you think, viewers?